Ladies and gentlemen, the Steam machine remains in flux. It has been a bad time for Valve, and I don't blame them at all. But there's a lot of recapping to do here before we get into this story here and now and what's going on with the Steam machine and if it'll even come out this year. This really began when we got this blog post here from Valve on the Steam hardware and the launch timing. And their words were, originally, when we announced these products in November, we planned on being able to share specific pricing and launch dates by now. But the memory and storage shortages you've likely heard about across the industry have rapidly increased since then. The limited availability and growing prices of these critical components mean we must visit our exact shipping schedule and pricing, especially around the Steam machine and Steam frame. Our goal of shipping all three products in the first half of the year has not changed. So that was the statement we were living on for a while. You carry this one step forward, we start to see here on SteamDB, the industry's favorite website, the release date got an update here. It says it's coming soon. We're like, okay, movement on the horizon. This change, as we can see, just yesterday, coming soon. Okay, we're finally making moves here. What is the update, really? Well, Valve posted a 2025 year in review. It's their annual platform summary for developers. And in this, we do get an update on hardware again. Now, context is key here because there's something Valve says that is available in their original post, but is not available here. They write in their first section here, because the rest is interesting information, but it's more just like how we're spotlighting things. They show here like monthly new releases, theme sales, organic recommendations, which is probably one of the best things for discoverability that Steam has. In here, somehow Trails makes an appearance, by the way. As a diehard Trails fan, I'm like, wait, what? No way. It's like just watching your underdog cook. So just seeing Trails there at all is awesome. Anyway, it's a full 3-part breakdown if you want to read it all. What we're going to focus on here is section 1, hardware. They say, okay, we know this is technically the 2025 year in review, but to make sense of our hardware efforts, we need to go all the way back to 2013, when we first announced our plans to expand PC gaming into the living room. At that time, developers struggled with Linux compatibility. Valve was still learning about building and shipping physical products, and VR was a distant dream. We couldn't quite deliver the games, library, or user experience we were aiming at, even though players told us they were excited about playing PC games on the big screen. Fast forward to 2025, and we've solved a bunch of the hardest problems. The Proton compatibility layer brought thousands of excellent games to Linux and SteamOS at no cost to game developers. Millions of players have helped us refine and perfect the gamepad experience of shopping, playing, and chatting on Steam. Manufacturing learnings from the original Steam controller, the Steam Link streaming box, the Valve Index, and the Steam Deck all poured into realizing what we dreamed about more than a decade earlier. This is it. Like, they're building up this, right? A gaming-first living room experience, an open platform for customers, and wireless virtual reality headset with its own processing power, right? So this is all looking pretty good here. Now, this is the key quote. Here's the lineup of hardware we announced in 2025. We recently shared that there have been challenges with memory and storage shortages, but we will be shipping all three products this year. More updates will be shared as we finalize our plan. This is a bit of a change because last we had heard it was we're launching again in like the first half of the year, right? The last update we got here was right here, right? They said, we'll keep you up to date. We'll finalize those plans, but our goal is to ship in the first half of the year. So now we're hearing just this year, like hopefully sometime in 2026. But before that, you got to wonder if it was like the truth or something in between here. But Wario64 posts that Valve hopes to ship in 2026. So this is what it originally had on screen in this section here. They write, here's the lineup of hardware we announced in 2025. We hope to ship in 2026, but as we shared recently, memory and storage shortages have created challenges for us, which says to me, it's like we might not even come out this year. We went from early 2026 to first half to hope for 2026 to we will ship in 2026. Now, could have been a mistake like that because they did update it after this, and that's where we got this post here saying that they will be shipping all these products in this year. So it is important to note that that is the recent statement. But when it did start off as they hope to ship, well, hope's a strong word, right? It's always important to have hope, but that's not really an actionable plan for something like the Steam machine. Again, I don't blame Valve for this. It's unfortunate. And what's kind of squeezing them is also that the Steam Deck is sold out. So their hardware plans are kind of dried up right now. It's like, okay, we have to get the Steam machine out. It's like it could just be a kind of barren year for Valve's hardware. Why is this? Well, a couple of things. One, of course, is the thing that you've already heard a million times before, but I will just remind you, RAM prices are going through the roof. We can literally see the chart here from 2024, where it starts over the last 18 months, and the spikes that start to happen toward the end of last year. And like, look where we started, below $50, and look at where we're at now. Just look at all of these. Below 100, moving into the 200s. Again, below 100, up over 250. Below 100, now about to cross into 300. Below 100, over 300. You can see here, this one's crazy. Around the 100 mark area, this has now hit over $600. Okay, and the list goes on. So RAM and just hardware prices are through the roof. And that's because, of course, of AI data centers demanding more and more. They're first in line for their vendors because they're paying a premium. And so Valve, with their, I like to say this lovingly and jokingly, their dinky little Steam machine compared to AI data centers are not high priority, and they don't get vendor deals more than likely. So therefore, they have to sit on their hands, because I'm sure in front of them in line is PlayStation, Nintendo, and Xbox, because Valve has kind of put themselves a little bit in this corner, not intentionally, again, not their fault. It's fine. This is their desire for their platform, but they have decided that the Steam machine will not be this extremely competitive product on the market. They've already said, like, we're not subsidizing. We're not aiming for console players. We're not trying to fill the void that Xbox has left behind. They're just trying to give something for their fans to bring that PC gaming experience, that Steam experience that they were talking about in their 2025 wrap up, to the living room. This is all amounting to that dream here. But that doesn't mean that they want to sell like 20 plus million units of that, like maybe 5. That's what they're looking at. So they're low priority. And I'm sure for the amount of money that Steam makes, they can sit on this thing. And frankly, I'm in the camp where when I look at these prices, I want Valve to succeed because they're a great company. They put the customer first in a lot of ways. So for me, if I have the choice here, I know it's going to be disappointing for like YouTube news channels like myself, where we don't have it to talk about. But if Valve's like, yo, these prices are not coming down, and because of that, we're going to have to upcharge you significantly on the Steam machine, we're waiting till next year at the very least. I would really respect that. It feels like the type of move Valve would do, because I know they don't want to subsidize, but there has to be a level of like giving this thing a fighting chance. And I've shown you guys prices in the past when we've talked about the Steam machine multiple times where other competing platforms are just borderline pricing themselves out of the competition. When I saw the Xbox Ally X was $1,000, I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I was like, I was very lucky in that Xbox gifted me one as part of my review process. But as a purchasing customer, as I said in my review, I was like, dude, in today's economy, that's just hard to swing, even if this thing was great. But in my opinion, at launch, it was not. There's that. The prices have driven them up so much. They're hoping to ship, or now they're going to ship this year. But it seems like at best you're getting them holiday, because it's time. Time needs to do its thing. And I think we all understand and know that these RAM prices aren't going to come down this year. That's why all of these hardware manufacturers are shifting their plans. PlayStation doesn't potentially move their next-gen plans out of 2027 if they feel like RAM prices and hardware prices, consumer electronic prices, are going to come down by that point. They will decide when they want to produce things. So if they're holding their plans, or Nintendo's looking at increasing the price of their Switch 2, I think Valve, like even next year might not be clear. So Valve is, again, kind of stuck. I feel so bad for them because it's just like I've said it every time we talk about the Steam machine. It's just not a great time to be launching. And then things get a little bit interesting because their direct competition is sneaking up on them a little bit here. As we talked about a little bit with the Xbox Helix, or whatever it ends up being called, Asha Sharma confirmed that the Xbox Helix will lead in performance and play your Xbox and PC games. So the Steam machine will not be playing your Xbox games, but it will play your PC games. And I think you need to be competitive with pricing, and you can't get snuck up on with like RAM pricing and just overcharge people, because I think Valve still wants this to be successful, and they still view Xbox as some type of competition. Even if we just saw recently that Gabe Newell's like, I get an Xbox 10 out of 10 times over a PlayStation. He said something to that effect recently. If you're looking at Xbox, they're going to be a more expensive version, but they're going to be more powerful, play more games. So you have to at least beat them in price if you're going to be less powerful than them. Because I think people care about fidelity, frame rate, that sort of stuff. But I think this can appeal to a more casual gamer. That's the benefit. So you need to price it in that area there if you want people to embrace PC gaming in the living room. So now they kind of got Xbox to look out for. Now this is the firm plan, right? We'd heard reports about PC console games on one device, but now we know this. Now it's a little bit more actionable for Valve. And then lastly, in light of all of this, can we just like pour one out for the Half-Life fans? I mean, it feels like based on the conspiracy boards and the discoveries that so many members of the community have made, like I've bought in. This is a very real game and it's going to be coming out at some point. But it seems obvious that this game is directly tied to the Steam machine, whether it be because that would mark a momentous occasion for Valve, who can absolutely just hold on to the game, or because they want to push units with the game that feels impossible in Half-Life 3. So I feel so bad that this game's fate is connected to the Steam machine, because what looks to be happening is that AI just had to exist in the timeline we finally are about to get Half-Life 3. And so every time a Steam machine delay happens, you're also realizing that it feels like Half-Life 3 is getting pushed back, because at this point now, it's like, could Valve, I mean, I guess they could, right? Would they just still be like, well, the plan for Half-Life 3 was to drop that early 2026. We're still going to do that. Or if you end up saying like, hey, Steam machine, it's going to be a little more expensive than we thought. Here's that Half-Life 3. Kind of washes over any bad PR, creates an undeniable hype level for what Valve's doing one way or another, and they kind of beat their own bad news. It's a weapon that they can wield pretty effectively. But I feel bad for Half-Life fans because, again, I think this game's fate is very much tied to, or I should say its release fate is very much tied to the Steam machine. And Valve is clearly happy to sit on their hands and be like, we're just going to keep toiling away on this, perfecting it, because they have a whole marketplace that's making them tons of money. They're good. So they can wait on this. Their fate is not tied to hardware. There's a reason why they're not going all in on hardware. It's because they don't really need to. They're like a software company. They're a storefront. So they get to just maybe sit on Half-Life a little bit longer, but I feel bad for the fans who have waited so long for this impossible game. They're finally about to get it, and they like Valve still is just like holding back because the world just had to happen this time. It's one thing when we get ourselves worked up over the rumors and speculation and whatnot, but now I think it's no doubt happening, and it's just like it probably would have already happened if not for Sam Altman and OpenAI, bro. Such a shame. So yeah, in conclusion, what you've got here is Steam hardware that continues to move its goalposts a little bit. We've gone from early 2026 to the first half of 2026 to just sometime in 2026, likely holiday. And I imagine prices won't fall by then. And so it'll maybe get another delay. We'll see in due time, but it does break my heart a little bit because I'm really excited for the Steam machine, but it feels like the universe is doing everything it can to break our spirits because we're like, this thing's going to be more expensive than we want it to be. And it's later already. Like the zeitgeist is going to kind of cool off. Like Valve obviously isn't going to cancel this, but it definitely takes the wind out of its sails a little bit. There's no like sustained momentum. So I'll be interested to see how they kind of like recreate the fire. And I think a great price would do that. But again, I'm still in that like best case scenario, lowest SKU of this thing is $750. Anything below that is a very welcome, very pleasant surprise. And I think Valve knows they could do that, but they're not going to be the superhero in the AI wars where like, again, companies like PlayStation and Nintendo, whose whole businesses are built around their consoles, are flirting with the idea of not being your hero. I feel like Valve definitely is not going to be that person for you, but we'll see. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, it's getting competitive out there, and so I think Valve's going to sit on this thing. And I'm all for like just put out the statement like, yeah, we're hoping to launch this year. Obviously, that doesn't come to fruition. We're holding on this thing until prices come down. We'll talk soon. We're going to keep tinkering on this thing. I don't know. I'd be willing to wait a year for prices to come down and make this thing more affordable because that was its function. That was its purpose. So we'll see. Will prices even be able to fall by then? Crazy times we live in.